Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I have a video for you called the Pro Player Perspective. The gameplay that you're seeing reflects that pretty accurately. This is me trying really hard on Detroit. It's Momentum, it's not a competitive game type, but I'm going hard against a competitive player. A subscriber on the other team is an amateur player, and we're duking it out, really trying to win, going hard. Great gameplay, but what I wanted to talk about is how pro players see the world, why they do the things they do and the things around them. Esports is a big phenomenon. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not a pro gamer. That's not really my scene, but I participated in a few things recently that gave me new perspective into their worlds, and esports is ridiculously popular, and many of you I'm sure will be interested in this, but I work around the periphery of competitive Call of Duty. I, again, am not a competitive player, but I do a lot of things with Team Envious. I work on stats, I work on best strategies, I watch, I interact with people. And there are some things that pro gamers in Call of Duty and League of Legends and Dota and whatever game do that are just different than YouTubers or other gamers that you might know, and I wanted to explain what those things are and then why they are and how I've managed to learn this. I guess I kind of knew it before, but I got to really experience it recently, and knowing and feeling, or knowing and experiencing, are very, very different things. But some of the ways that pro gamers differ very heavily from YouTubers, in my experience anyway, is that they really don't care very much about YouTube comment. You see a whole ton of very well-known pro gamers with no YouTube channel, with not a big Facebook, with limited social outreach. They don't try to make amazing content. They're not doing interviews. They're not doing a lot of creative stuff. And sometimes they're even kind of lazy with the stream setup. It's very minimal, very straightforward. It works, it functions, but it's not anything amazing or creative. Like you'd think that somebody streams all the day that have the most amazing stream ever. Sometimes, not always, kind of varies a bit. And also kind of reluctant to take on new projects. They don't want to leave home, don't want to travel, don't want to do a lot of different things. And one thing that's funny, this is from talking to people, almost every pro gamer that I know has a secret game. Whatever game they're playing, they also play something else. The game they play for a living might not be their fantasy game. They often enjoy it or did at one point, but they've moved on to something different. They'll play StarCraft, or the League of Legends player that secretly plays Call of Duty, or vice versa, or something around. And obviously they don't get along with each other. YouTubers don't always do that either, but it's more often that you get a collaboration on YouTube than with competitive people. But my experience on this is recently I tried to do a little bit of competitive gaming, and I entered the Chappie Challenge Evolve tournament, and I also signed up to play Evolve competitively in a tournament at PAX. This is not something I have done in like ever. I used to do a little clanning back when I was a teenager, but I haven't done competitive gaming in a decade. I might as well just say I've never done it at all. And this is a relatively minor thing compared to being a pro gamer, but I actually had to put in the time, build a team, practice hard, stream every day, do all that sort of stuff, and it was really time consuming and more difficult than I thought it would be. So anyway, I probably practiced Evolve like 8 hours a day, 5 hours a day. I streamed 3 or 4 of it. I worked really hard, tried to team build, tried to get along with everybody and learn these things, and I got a very different perspective on pro gaming. So because working with Envy, some of the things I would do is like try to get them to make YouTube videos, try to do this project or that project, and I got a lot of people like, man, I'm too tired for that, I don't want to do that right now. But the streams and practice were actually far more exhausting than I thought they would be. Streaming competitively was actually more exhausting than streaming for fun or putting on a show or editing or recording or whatever. It was very mentally exhausting. I can't sit here and say that sitting in a chair like physically exhausted me, that I'm losing weight and I'm just sweating it all out, and I'm like, it's not like a construction job. It's not like you're out there working hard, slaving away, but you are working your mind very, very fast, very, very focused, intense sort of thing, and that can actually tire you out. If you're a person that gets mentally stressed, that's one of the things that can happen, that you might experience. And when it was all done, for the first time in a long time, I had no desire to do YouTube or to film anything or to do any sort of little creative. I was done. I was out. I was gonna derp around in League of Legends and be Teemo or go eat Klondike bars or something like that. Just playing that hard, focusing that much, and streaming for that long actually made me tired enough to change the schedule that I was already on for years and years and years. And I can now imagine why people that are already on that schedule, like a pro gamer that streams every day, has no desire whatsoever to make YouTube videos or work on anything else. When they're done, they're done. They're absolutely beat and dog tired. They probably just go take a nap or just like a little mental drain or something like that. And I also had got tired of playing Evolve pretty quickly. I really like Evolve. I think it's a fun game, but I just kind of pooped out on it. I mean, I just played it so hard, studying everything, every little minor bug, every little spot. It wasn't necessarily a fresh emotional experience for me, as it was literally a grind, the word that they use very often. I was just kind of repeating myself, grinding it out over and over and over again, and I really overdid the game. I haven't played it in a little while since then. I've kind of been giving it a break, but I started to miss Call of Duty, I started to miss League of Legends, I started to miss some of the other games, Block and Load, some other little things like that, and it kind of reminded me of how when I talked to other gamers or other pro players, they would always have secret little games like Pokemon or StarCraft or something like that, or you know, something like The Last of Us, and I was like, wow, that's the same thing. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I do it so much I'm sick of it. I would rather be doing something else. I guess that kind of explains Optic Craft to an extent. And I also didn't always get along with my teammates. This is kind of where the commentary starts getting very fun. Most notably, for those of you that watch the stream, I didn't necessarily get along really well with Prodigy. I'm not a very vocally aggressive person or passively aggressive person. When I decide to do something, I'm going to do it. I already left the team a while back, but we didn't get along, and so what happened is my job is a trapper. I'm supposed to hunt down the monster, find wherever they're at, use the clues, throw the dome, and trap him. Once he's in the dome, I got to run around and lay all these little traps everywhere and then put in some kind of DPS with my submachine gun. I've already showed you the clip there, so you kind of get the idea. Apparently, Prod thought I wasn't trapping very good or enough. Battleman thought this too. And we had some differences that I'm going to explain politely later, but the guy muted himself on Skype, so he thought he couldn't hear us, but left his Kinect on, and then this happened.
Yeah, the team is locked. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore, because I've been telling him exactly how to play. I've been telling him stay middle, Trapper. Stay middle. Where he needs to be. He's going from behind. Assault is to assault does not. Our assault does not jump in as aggressive as he should be.
You are so full of shit, dude. I can hear you through my Xbox, and you're full of shit at this point. Yes.
Like, you're not being aggressive.
Then take assault. Give me fucking Trapper.
Want to take Trapper?
While that is very minor trash talk, it was very hurtful because we've been playing and streaming for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days and getting closer together, learning each other better, and you know, you get trash talked on like that. It was very disappointing. I more or less made my mind up then that I wasn't going to be playing on the team for PAX, but I was going to finish the tournament. Very disheartening, but I can kind of see how this happens in a competitive sense because me and Prodigy didn't get along for several reasons. Number one is that we had different objectives with the game. Evolve for me was something that was fun, it was different, I'm just kind of experimenting with it. Call of Duty's my bread and butter. Evolve is a side project. For Prodigy, he wanted to be the #1 in Evolve. He still wants this. He wants to be the #1 Evolve player in the world, probably #1 monster, very competitive. That's his #1 focus in life right now, and so is Twitch and not YouTube or anything else. So we already have different goals. We had very different schedules, both awake, sleep, we were different time zones, different parts of the world. That didn't always pan out really well, and at different skill levels, because again, this is one thing I do a little bit of. I actually did quite a bit of it for then, but for all of the hours that I put in streaming, he probably put in twice as much. This guy just eats, sleep, and drink Evolve, so he got way more skilled than me or J-Hub or some of these other people. And then you get the talking down to and this sort of stuff. And one tiny mistake in this game, which you probably saw in the tournament, I'm not even going to put it on here because it's embarrassing, means that we lose and everybody gets pissed at each other and we play the blame game. You'll play the game of trying to fix it and get better a couple of times, but if it happens again, then it's just everybody starts blaming each other and complaining. And previously on the outside of the competitive scene, and again, this is my minor experience, I'd look on Twitter and I'd see all these pro gamers, mostly Call of Duty, but sometimes some other ones arguing with each other or saying you did this wrong, you did that wrong, fussing here, talking trash, whatever. And I always thought it was very kind of childish, very immature, just something that would be kind of embarrassing for me. But then after being there in that situation where I am in the middle of the blame game and we're arguing and we're frustrated and money's on the line and it's stressful and intense, it's more of a surprise to me that teams stay together at all. I'm honestly kind of impressed by the chemistry of people that get along with each other and forgive each other for these sort of massive mistakes that do happen on a daily basis. It's just a very different outlook on it. I don't think as much of the trash talk now. Maybe that makes me a worse person. I don't really know. That's just kind of my perspective. And it's just different between feeling and knowing. These are all things that I knew before, I was aware of. You can logically deduce these things. You can be a troll and go in the comments and be like, well, no shit, Drifter, I already knew this. But knowing it and then really experiencing it firsthand is very different. It makes you think about people very, very differently. So it's one of those things. If you ever want to really understand somebody, Do what they do for a couple of days, and you'll really get a much better perspective on them. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.